Welcome to my channel. This is the Diamond Chrysalis, aka Divested Diamonds. This is divestment with purpose, and you have arrived.
Trans women are women. What are your thoughts?
Trans women are trans women. That's not said disrespectfully, because my era, we were transvestites, drag queens, you're a man in a dress. We fought to have the title of trans women. Respectfully, trans men are trans men. That is not even a disrespect. It's this younger, new generation, Z crazy, that it's not enough for. But let me just break something down to y'all real simple. If a woman is a social construct and we're emulating women, what would that make us? Social construction workers? To be truthful. And if biological women stop having sex, if biological women stop having babies, it won't be no more black, white, LGBT, fat, funny looking, and nothing else. I know y'all ain't gonna like the way I put it to you in a box, but when you find the lie, stop me. Because I have relationships with trans men that they identify as men, but they're biologically women. They think that, oh, Flame, you just pandering for the women. No, I know what a woman is. Woman is Mother Earth. We all came through the birth canal of a woman. All female impersonators, transgender, sex change, whatever. You did not learn how to be a female or act like a female watching somebody like you in a suit and tie.
That's a fact.
You learn from the woman that raised you, whether it be your mother, your auntie, your stepmother, whomever. But then when I get so comfortable in my gay or my transgender or whatever I decide to become, whatever's instilled in me, I'm better than you? No, I'm not better than you. You're still my sister.
Wow.
But I'm better than you now? That is the problem. We keep trying to dismiss women. You cannot dismiss a woman.
Right.
Life
Or
would
compete.
stop.
Okay, so this is gonna get a lot of people mad, but the harsh reality is that trans women are actually biologically women. I know it's like super shocking, but the most important sex determining organ in your body is actually your brain. And there's a lot of research to show that trans women have brains that are very much in alignment with our gender identity. I know, shocker. So anybody that runs around and tries to tell you, oh, sex and gender, it's so different. The truth is, it's a lot more complicated than that, and anybody who tries to call trans women biological males are coping and seething. So you should make fun of them.
The reason why trans sex appeal stands out a little bit more than the average cisgender woman's sex appeal is because y'all can't believe that we are so sexy. Y'all can't believe that we are so feminine that it could come off as sexy.
Men and women are different. That is also another proven fact. Women don't typically behave with such dismissiveness and aggression when it comes to a lot of situations unless we are forced to do so. The idea that women are competing with biological males is an XY concept that is not founded in reality. Feminine energy is gentle and nurturing. Women are not predators by nature. We're not hunters. Masculine energy, on the other hand, is forceful, aggressive, and majority of the time, inconsiderate. And for those who claim that women are competing with so-called trans women for the attention of men, stop it. That's like comparing apples to oranges. Any man who engages in a sexual encounter or relationship with a so-called trans woman isn't heterosexual. Straight women don't want those men. See, as a male, you would think that. It's in your nature to be competitive, but because you don't understand the true nature of femininity, that will unfortunately be your default mindset. The only time women compete for men is usually at the coercion of men. This notion that a woman isn't enough on her own did not come from women. The notion that every woman needs a man comes from the indoctrination of females by males. Now, I can't speak for other cultures and what they do when it comes to what I'm about to say, but have you ever wondered why in this culture, in Western culture, women don't have their own last names? And I'm talking about names that have been passed down from all the XX creators of your side of the family. Think about it. Your last name is inherited from a male relative, a name that's been passed down from one generation to the next. We as XXs are not in control of a lot of things because we live in an androcentric society. The so-called freedom you have is an illusion. The environment in which we live benefits men more than it does women. The world we live in is male-centric, and they will do whatever it takes to keep it that way. And that includes putting XX lives in danger to accommodate other male criminals and fetishists. Men need to feel needed. Women, naturally, don't need men. At least most of them would know that if it weren't for the indoctrination over millennia. And this is not hate or disrespect. It's just fact. Every time a woman says this, some men get very annoyed. There's depth to this statement that's not rooted in insults. However, there's a reality attached to it that most men aren't ready and willing to accept. They would rather you didn't think and just accepted their word for it because this is their world. They get to make the rules, and the expectation is that you follow blindly with no questions asked. Most men can't stand a woman who's about her wit. This is why they insult you by calling you masculine or aggressive for simply pointing out facts. There's a difference in meaning when a man expects a woman to be feminine and what femininity really is. This divisive behavior we're seeing with ExWives doing videos and going in on Jess Hilarious and calling her ugly and saying, well, she looks trans herself, is a desperate attempt at stripping her womanhood, humanity, and bringing her down a few notches. Isn't that right, DJ Academics? You have ExWives like Funky Dineva, a man who has cosplayed as a woman for years. Someone who, if you looked at his analytics, I'm sure you will find that his biggest supporters, who happen to be Black women, giving a very lukewarm take on this and not calling out the foolishness of these XYs and their disrespect. Do these Black women who follow him actually know why that is? Let me tell you why. Because when it really comes down to it, XYs will always stand in solidarity with each other, no matter how depraved their behavior is. Look at history, look at religion, and look at all these cultures around the world and see how women are treated. It's all about ownership of a group of people deemed weak. The question is, if men were so confident in their power, why would they need to dominate women so much? I mean, shouldn't their confidence and strength speak for itself? Think about it. I mean, really, think about it. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Real power is silent. It's not loud or braggadocious. What women need to understand is that a lot of men do not care about women's issues. They only care when it benefits them. Black women in particular are notorious for supporting causes that don't benefit them. A lot of you love your kings so much so, you don't give a shit. You don't care if their actions impact you negatively. You need to wake up. Now, before some of you say, oh, she hates men, or that I'm a feminist, let me tell you something. Only one of those assumptions is correct. I don't hate men, but I do understand their mentality a lot more than most women do. Now, that leaves you with one option. So figure it out. You see, I always have to laugh when some of you show up in my comment section calling me a feminist. Am I supposed to be offended by that? You actually think it's an insult calling me a feminist. Newsflash, it's not. You know, Tasha K did a great job with her video on this matter. I absolutely agreed with what she had to say. It's just sad, but not shocking, that someone like T.S. Madison would bring up Tasha's children into this. This wasn't shocking to anyone with half a brain, right? Making fun of innocent children for being half African and the whole backward concept of African poverty, as if there's no one, absolutely no one in this country living in poverty, was wild to me. Now, he can call it a read or whatever it is, but that shit was nasty. I'm sorry, but kids should always be off limits. He said some pretty nasty things about Tasha K and said, F you, F your husband, and F your kids. You see, it's easy for him to be so nonchalant about bringing children into the conversation because his mindset is that of a true naker. These males don't like children. Shocker. This is where the difference between XX and ExWives who imitate women becomes very clear. Yes, there are women out there who are low vibrational and will say some effed up things about other people's children. However, most of us, not all, most women are equipped with logic and empathy when it comes to innocent children, something a lot of these ex-wives lack. A lot of these individuals may be effeminate in behavior, but they don't possess feminine energy like women do, and therefore can never view certain situations the same way an XX would. For a lot of them, their default setting is aggression. They can't help themselves but be who they truly are. That's their nature. No amount of makeup, wigs, or female clothing will give them the intuition, spirituality, and feminine energy that most women have naturally. We are very different. I hate to say it, but this is what a lot of you black women get for putting your capes on, supporting the interests of this community. Black men, in particular, have shown black women time and time again how they don't care about you, yet you're always supporting these ex-wives to your detriment. Kevin Samuels, despite having a disdain for black women, he still had a lot of black women supporters. So did Tommy Sotomayor. How many times have we seen gay black ex-wives and trans-identifying males try to humble black women over womanhood? These are not the types of people you can compromise with. You shouldn't be arguing with ex-wives over what it means to be a woman. Are biological women engaging in debates on what it means to be a man? Of course not. So why are women entertaining this bullshit? These males have so many disrespectful terms for women laced with misogyny. But still, your support keeps getting stronger. You know, we're not out here calling them penis squirters or eggplant shooters, pipe drips, jizzers, are we? We could, but we're not, because it's childish. They don't even see you as human, yet you're always caping for them, cheering them on. Yes, girl, yes, calling each other bees and hoes. And the moment things go to hell, the first thing they do is attack your appearance, telling you how you're ugly and how you look like a man.
I'm just going to speak from my motherfucking heart. I didn't even listen to everything Tasha K said simply because, bitch, just a few weeks ago, you and motherfucking Just Hilarious was reading each other. So, bitch, that now y'all want to get on one accord. Now Tasha K want to sit there and try to be on motherfucking, just hilarious side simply because, bitch, you relate from being a dark ass, insecure, unattractive black bitch. But let's be clear. 2 weeks ago, y'all were just tearing each other down. And that's what I don't respect about a lot of real women. Y'all against each other until y'all find somebody to be with each other to be against somebody else. That's half the reason why I never respect you hoes as women. That's why a lot of you hoes will never, bitch, get my motherfucking respect as a trans woman. Bitch. You hoes run around here like y'all don't respect us. Bitch, a lot of us don't respect you. Oh, I don't know why the fuck, because you thought the doctor told your mom she was having a girl that you was the motherfucking all to be all, bitch. But bitch, I'm a woman. And my pronouns are she, her, and hers. Nobody give a fuck about no motherfucking title. I'm looking for happiness. I want stability. I want peace. I want love in my life. Don't I give a fuck about no fucking gender, bitch, because when I walk through these streets, these men don't see my penis. And that's the only thing that makes you hoes know that I'm trans. There's a lot of women with deep voices. And there's a lot of bitches running around here with a lot of y'all grandmamas and mamas got mustaches and beards. Let's be clear. There was an article going around today. A 59-year-old woman was killed because they thought she was trans. They think Just Hilarious is trans. Bitch, let's talk about it.
Because looking like a man is the worst thing that could possibly happen to any woman, right? Do you hear the lack of acceptance and the projection of self-hatred? Most men do not like themselves. Most men do not like women. Most men don't respect women. Those are all facts. They only tolerate you, in most cases, for your reproduction.
If there's someone that's very, very young and goes into a marriage and has kids when they're like 18, 19, 20, a year into the relationship, it gets really, really abusive. Even though it might be rare from what you guys think.
It is.
If it would happen, what would you recommend for those people? Would they divorce, or do you want them to keep going in the relationship?
Keep going. You can't divorce, and that's not a real thing.
Even though it might be like physically abusive?
You got to endure. People are too...
You want to stick in the
People
relationship?
are just...
I mean, look,
people
I'm gonna be
nowadays
honest.
are just...
For anyone that might be in that situation, what would you recommend?
Okay,
endure.
I'll tell
Would
you
they
what.
give
I'll
up
tell you what.
divorce?
It is such an extreme example that I can't give a prescription for what other people should do.
What about if two people get married, they have a kid, and then the wife starts cheating? Do you think they should divorce?
Absolutely. Jesus himself said in cases of adultery, divorce is
So you think that
permissible.
divorce is worse than physical abuse?
For the
Or
children?
cheating, sorry. You think that cheating is worse than physical abuse?
For the children, yes.
Absolutely
I think I'm not going to say
divorce-
this is worse.
divorce
I mean,
is worse for the children.
You're just a tool, a means to an end in the repopulation of this planet. Harsh but true. Your uterus is literally the most valuable thing on this planet because without it, humanity ceases to exist. A woman's uterus is worth more than any precious mineral that this planet has to offer. You are the end-all and be-all of humanity. Do I need to say it again? Real power is silent. It's not loud or braggadocious. This is why they're always trying to subjugate you by keeping you in the dark, because if you truly understood who you were, who you are, you would care about the quality of human you procreate with. You would care about what you allow to come sliding down your birth canal. Male nature is self-serving. Sadly, most women did not get the memo. A lot of women are brainwashed to sacrifice themselves for another's happiness. These males do not like you. They are trying to be you. This is a takeover based on delusion and replication. It's like the invasion of the body snatchers. Even lesbians are being forced to accept ExWives as lesbians, even though the term itself is sex specific and has nothing to do with one's gender identity.
Whenever I mention that I'm lesbian, some people give me a confused look. Just let me explain, okay? My name is Sophia, my pronouns are she, her, and I am a transgender lesbian. A lesbian, of course, is a woman who dates other women, so I, as a transgender woman, only date women. The most common response I get to this is, well, why would you transition if you're still just going to date women? But that's where we need to understand that sexuality and gender are very different. Gender and gender expression are about who you are and how you present yourself, whereas your sexuality is who you love. And those two things have nothing to do with each other. So be who you are, love who you love, but most importantly, love yourself.
So an XY can, quote unquote, transition to being a, quote unquote, woman and demand that a woman date him because he's a lesbian now. If she says, no, I don't like penis, she's then called a bigot for choosing pie over sausage.
So I've only been on TikTok for 2 days and I'm already fed up with lesbian TikTok. Y'all just keep making the same trans misogynistic jokes over and over about, oh, I can't get pregnant because I'm a lesbian, or oh, I don't like dick. That's not because you're a lesbian, it's because you're transphobic. Women have penises. Like, I don't know what is it that you guys don't get about these concepts, but stop making jokes excluding trans misogyny affected lesbians and other sapphics. Like, they're not funny, it's not cute.
Women and womanhood are being attacked from all angles. It doesn't matter if you're heterosexual or a lesbian. As long as you're born with XX chromosomes, please understand this. You're still female. There's a new world order upon us. Your erasure, or at least what it means to be you as a woman, is being slowly taken away for something more sinister.
So I was gonna keep it really respectful. I was. But then you wanted to come into the DMs and make essentially a joke out of what I was saying, my commentary, right? If you're someone who says, hey, like, I don't find trans people or trans women attractive, I think that makes you transphobic, and here's my reasoning why. When you say, oh, I don't want to date a trans woman, for example, what does that mean to you? Like, genuinely think this through. Like, what does that mean to you? And it's normal to have certain preferences, but to have it be a blanket term for a group of people, a specific demographic, is a sort of ism, right? And the thing is that trans women and trans people look so many different types of ways. So for you to say I'm not attracted or interested in trans people doesn't make sense. Whether a trans person decides to medically transition or not still makes them trans no matter what. Whether or not a trans person is early on their transitioning process, whether their goal is to pass or not, still makes them trans. Whether or not a trans woman decides to wear makeup and be more feminine presenting versus a trans person who maybe is non-binary and chooses to not be someone more feminine or masculine, or maybe they choose to be more masculine. Who knows? Doesn't really matter. Trans people, trans women look many different types of ways. And I give the example of black women in the sense that, like, when people say, hey, I don't want to date a black woman, that's racism. Sorry, point blank period. And I'm going to come respectfully as a black woman and say something that we might have experienced together is a lot of times when people say, I don't want to date black women, they always, especially black men, will say something that's negative. Like, oh, well, I just want to date black women because I think they're loud. I think they're ghetto. I think that they, they're not submissive as XYZ other race. You know what I'm saying? That happens all the time. And we know that's bullshit because it's like you just making up stereotypes and negatively associated stereotypes against black women, and you're blanket terming that as if all black women are this monolith of being loud, ghetto, women, uneducated women. And that's just not, first of all, that's not even true. Black women have different aesthetics. For example, you can have black women who are alt. You can have black women who are glamorous and high femmes. You can have black women who look like young M.A. or Queen Latifah or Michelle Obama or fucking Ice Spice. Everybody look different. Okay? So when someone says, hey, I don't like black women or black people, you can only assume it's racist because the only thing that you can come up with of why you wouldn't date someone who's black, again, because we're not a monolith and we can look very different types of way, is because of their identity of being black, which is racist. And let's go back to the DM. I love this DM. I think it's so funny, right? Oh, you're a lesbian, right? So why don't you date her? As if me being a lesbian means I date any kind of women. All women, every woman. I don't have a preference for women because all women are monoliths. They're all the same. No, that's not the case. And I want to point out that almost always trans women who are early in their transition process or choose to not have their goal to be passing are always the butt of the joke. Always the butt of the joke. That's not funny to me. Not all trans women want or can look like Laverne Cox or Dylan Mulvaney. Get it together, babe.
And I guess, welcome to the new age of colonization. Women are being officially colonized, and we're back to being under the reign of extreme misogyny. Except this time, it's coming from XYs who are pretending to be women with the approval of the government. And to all the men who are constantly saying, well, Women allowed this to happen. Why don't they do something about it? You do realize that these are males, right? We live in a patriarchy. Men are supposed to check other men on inappropriate behavior. The only reason you wouldn't is when you feel that it doesn't concern you because you don't care, or when such actions actually benefit you. And FYI, women have been fighting against this, but do you know what keeps happening? We are silenced, threatened, attacked, both verbally and physically.
I was going to talk about women and power, the lessons of the 20th century, because I think there's a lot of triumphalist talk that masks the real historic situation. And apparently people have decided that because I don't think that post-operative transgender men, i.e. M2F, transgender people are women, I'm not to be allowed to talk.
But surely if a man who feels that he actually would like gender reassignment to make him, her, feel more comfortable in her body, then that's what should be done. They should be allowed to do that.
I'm not saying that people should not be allowed to go through that procedure. What I'm saying is it doesn't make them a woman. It happens to be an opinion. It's not a prohibition. Carry on if that's what you think it is you want to do. I've been accused of inciting violence against transsexual people. That's absolute nonsense.
But do you feel that the transgender community has too big a voice now? It seems to me you're saying that they're becoming what feminists were often called strident.
Yes, but they very seldom were strident, alas. I think that a great many women don't think that post-operative or even non-post-operative transsexual M2F transsexual people look like, sound like, or behave like women. But they daren't say so.
But just because they daren't say so doesn't mean that that person can't feel like that and feels more comfortable with themselves.
Yeah, but so what? That's not my issue. I don't even talk about it. Not everybody does feel comfortable, by the way, post-operatively. There's been a couple of cases I found very interesting where the actual acceptor of the procedure has felt that it's been a disaster.
But for those who do not feel it's been a disaster and feel more comfortable, then do you understand how they might feel that you have been hurtful towards them?
People are hurtful to me all the time. Try being an old woman. I mean, for goodness sake. People get hurt all the time. I'm not about to walk on eggshells.
So you believe in free speech, really, no matter what?
Well, not quite no matter what. You don't have to say everything that's in your mind. You do use tact in the usual way. I would, for example, with someone who wished to be known as female, use female speech forms as a courtesy.
Now, though, people who are intersex are feeling a little more confident about coming forward and a level of acceptance. But for example, a woman who outwardly has female genitalia but inside has testes and doesn't wish to have them, rather than accepting that she has them, she should be allowed, shouldn't she, and offered the chance to remove these inner testes.
We remove undescended testicles from men because they're dangerous. I'm sure they wouldn't be allowed to just lurk because that would be, I think that would be a problem. I mean, physically a problem. But then it's also a problem if what you have to do after gender reassignment is use steroids every day of your life. That's not a happy outcome either.
But it may be a happy outcome for them, and they may feel that you are in a way denigrating them for taking that road.
Oh, don't even talk about them. They're not my issue. I haven't published anything about transgender for years.
So how do you feel about the idea that Newnham College, your own college, is considering not giving you an honorary doctorate, apparently because of what you've said about the transgender community?
There's been 2 votes at my college on the question of whether or not I should have an honorary degree, and I'm not going to get one. They've been turned down, which is thought by some people to be astonishing, but not by me.
So someone like Caitlyn Jenner, for example, who has been who's been in the front of lots of magazines and apparently is, I think I'm right in saying, getting an award for being a Glamour Woman of the Year. What do you think about that?
I think it's misogynist. I think misogyny plays a really big part in all of this. That a man who goes to these lengths will be a better woman than someone who was just born a woman.
But are people, you would say, necessarily born a woman or born feeling female? And if he feels more female...
But it seems to me that that what was going on there is that she wanted the limelight that the other female members of the family were enjoying and has conquered it just like that.
Will Young apparently has a new video out, I don't think you've seen it, in which a transgender person is going down the road and is abused. Reasonable position?
Am I mistaken in thinking that this individual is naked and running down the street with just a hand over her genitals? You try running with your sagging breasts down the middle of the fucking street and see what people will throw a blanket over you and grab you and call the police. For fuck's sake. It is simply not true that intersexual people suffer in a way that other people don't suffer.
Would you ever consider saying something more ameliorating?
No. I'm getting fed up with this, you know. I've had things thrown at me. I've been accused of things I have never done or said. People seem to have no concern about evidence or indeed even about libel.
If a man has his gender reassigned and outwardly and he feels inwardly is a woman, in your view, can he be a woman or not?
No.
Do you understand how people feel that's insulting?
I don't care. People get insulted all the time. Australians get insulted every day of the week.
Finally, if your safety is guaranteed, will you go to Cardiff?
I'm getting a bit old for all this. I'm 76. I don't want to go down there and be screamed at and have things thrown at me. Bugger it. It's not that interesting or rewarding.
Jeremy Greer, thank you very much indeed.
These ExWives think it's okay to put hands, feet, and weapons on women. So here's the thing. Rather than sit there and make suggestions from your comfort zone, why don't you come get your brethren? On that note, what are your thoughts on what's been discussed here today? Please leave your thoughts and comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And remember, ladies, you are the gatekeepers of periods and womanhood because nature says so. Matter of fact, as someone else said in one of the comment sections, we own the key to the actual gate. Ladies, please invest in yourselves and stop supporting communities that thrive on the XY privilege of oppressing women. The only way to delete the monster is to cut off its head and terminate its blood supply. Make of that what you will. This is the Diamond Chrysalis, and you've been watching XX Activated. Divest like a butterfly, and I'll see you next time. Bye, diamonds.